Welcome, everybody, into the Fogeles football show. This will be my new venture. I'm Spencer G. I previously worked on Rover Sports. You can find that on YouTube. And I also worked on Slaughterhouse Sports. Slaughterhouse Sports will still be doing some videos and some content on that channel, but Fogeles Football will be my new venture. It's going to be a lot about college and pro football. Slaughterhouse kind of involves Bruce the Sports Doc. It involves Rover Sports a little bit. So this new venture here called Fogeles, I'm really excited about because my goal is just to do a lot of scouting on this channel. It's to do a lot of reviews. It's to update everybody on the processes going on in pro and college football and really stay connected to football. A couple of times we might even have the founders of Fogeles on the show as well, especially as we get bigger. Those guys might want to come on and have a couple of of shows during the week that we can talk about. But really, I'm excited to begin this venture of Fogeles and kind of start this new look to the channel and try to have a consistent product day in and day out. We have some lofty goals for this channel with football and also our drink that we're trying to create as well, trying to create a quality beverage and a quality experience. So that's still in the making, but right now we're definitely going to worry about our media and we're going to worry about football. So overall, I wanted to take the time now to really dive into our first video, and that is talking about Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon is the new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He was hired by Monty Ossenfort. Monty Ossenfort was with the Patriots for many years, and then he went over to Tennessee to help out John Robinson and Mike Vrabel there with that staff. So basically here we are going to now talk about Jonathan Gannon. Here we go. Got my paper in front of me, guys. Private notes, of course. So Jonathan Gannon, looking at his bio, he is from Cleveland, Ohio. He went to Louisville University, and at Louisville, he unfortunately had a career-ending injury. He was a three-sport athlete at St. Ignatius in Cleveland, Ohio, and he then managed to be a scout. He was a college scout with the St. Louis Rams for 2 years, and then he worked alongside Mike Zimmer. So he's involved in the Mike Zimmer tree, and he was an assistant cornerbacks coach there with Mike Zimmer. So it just shows you his expertise in cornerback play. He's a big proponent of zone coverage. He's a big proponent of getting to the passer with 4 down linemen. He wants to build his defense probably like the New York Giants built their defense in 2007 and 2011 with a fierce, 4-man pass rush, a fierce pass rush with 4 guys, and then allow your back end of 7 guys to kind of rotate in coverage and play different variations of coverage. So a lot of Eagles fans did not like Jonathan Gannon because they did not like how Jonathan Gannon was particularly just blitzing, not blitzing at all, and how, if the 4 guys didn't get home, the quarterbacks can often, take advantage of zone coverages underneath. However, you do have to execute a lot of plays in order to score on, that this Eagles defense. And Hassan Reddick, James Bradbury, these guys happen to thrive under this, kind of defensive structure. Javon Hargraves, Fletcher Cox, these guys happen to really click this year. Now, people point towards, well, you faced Trevor Lawrence and Kirk Cousins earlier during the season. Daniel Jones was still getting used to a Brian Dable-led offense. You look at the quarterbacks that the Eagles played. They played Matt Ryan. They played Davis Mills, played Ryan Tannehill, and played, Trevor Lawrence, who was younger. So they played the AFC South, which is the easiest and worst division in the NFL. Then the Philadelphia Eagles also avoided the NFC West. They played Aaron Rodgers, who was deteriorating, Justin Fields, who didn't have a wide receiver. They played Kirk Cousins in week 2 when he was just getting used to Kevin O'Connell's system. And then they also played Jared Goff at home in week 1 in Detroit under new offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, and they got shredded. So people point to a historically weak schedule and then him faltering in the Super Bowl. Now, the point is about Jonathan Gannon is that the team did happen to only allow 2 offensive touchdowns in their 2 playoff home wins. They won each game 38-7. They won each game by a margin of like 30-7. So 38-7 and then 31-7. So their defense happened to ball out during that time period, only allowing 7 points. I like Jonathan Gannon for a couple of reasons. I like him because he's 40 years old. I like him because he wants to beat the odds. I like him because people doubt him. I like him because of the long sleeve kind of swag look. But in all seriousness, the reason why I like Gannon is because I think he got the most out of Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargrave, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He deployed Gardner-Johnson, who was a slot corner. He made him into a safety. So that takes a lot of skill in kind of cross-training, positions. I think that he's a modern thinker when it comes to defense. And I think that Gannon in the desert, I just think it's a nice fit with Monty Ossenfort. I think that it's a Monty hire instead of a Michael Bidwell hire, and I'm excited to see kind of like how he builds this team, because now Jonathan Gannon is a head coach, and that's going to be very different than an offensive coordinator. A lot of people will compare it to Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia, but I really look at Jonathan Gannon, and I view Jonathan Gannon as kind of the architect of this Eagles defense. And I believe that he is like a player's coach that people are going to respond to, but, time will tell. Unfortunately for Jonathan Gannon, they're saddled with one of the worst contracts in the NFL, Kyler Murray, who is having trouble playing, getting injured, and then in the playoff game, he was uninspiring, and that contract's just going to get worse. On the offensive side of the ball, DeAndre Hopkins is likely going to leave. And Kyler Murray is injured for the upcoming year. So there's a lot of problems there. The running back position isn't all that strong. The offensive line isn't exactly there. I believe that the Arizona Cardinals, you look at how barren the roster is. I know that they do have, Isaiah Simmons, Budda Baker is kind of in the prime of his career. Zaven Collins looks like a decent defensive player. He really does as a linebacker. They actually got some guys on the defensive side of the ball that can play. But offensively, I just think they're really going to struggle. And without Kyler, I'm not sure where the offensive coordinator is going to come into play. I just think that the job is very, very complex. I think it is a very difficult job. If I were Arizona, in all honesty, I think C.J. Stroud is a generational talent at quarterback. I would look at drafting him at number 3 overall. I know that, it's sad to the Kyler fanboys out there. I'm not just saying it for clickbait, but when else are you going to be drafting in the top 3? Kyler Murray's an all-right quarterback, but in the playoff game, he really struggled. And just that contract and the disputes and all of the drama about the work ethic, it's tough to continue to roll with Kyler as the undisputed, franchise quarterback when he's at that size, when he's that injury prone. And it's just going to be kind of a tough ordeal for Kyler, I think, in the coming years. But that's my opinion. I think it's a very tough job, but I'm happy for Gannon. And we're going to have to see how the Eagles recover. A lot of their fans are happy that he's gone, but I look at the body of work, the playoff success, the season really, passing all color, with flying colors during the season. So that's how I view Gannon. That's a 10-minute video on Jon Gannon.